Alrighty, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us today. We do appreciate you spending a couple hours with us. And of course, as you can see, we got a new face, a new person, a new personality to join us here. Nate, welcome, my friend, to the show.
Thank you.
Very excited to have him aboard. Unfortunately, he reminds us way too much of Tony. Oh, my God. Jeez, I thought we would get somebody new in here, but it doesn't seem like it. It's going to be the same old thing every week. Anyways, well, that might be a good thing. Ruff, how you doing, buddy?
I've been better. I've been better. I've had a bad case of the old flu, knocked me on my back for most of the week, and came down to maybe do some video and combat, which I've had out here for weeks and weeks. And I didn't recognize it. The cat had obviously taken a fancy to it while I was away, and everything was gone. So I've moved and everything. So what I've done is spent too long on it. I've lost a week, so I've put it away. So apologies, but I felt I did enough because it was the introductory scenario, and the Germans were routing. You know, we gave them.
You think you were going to win, right?
Yeah, gave them a good sort of seeing to. So put that away, so I can now. Hopefully next week feeling a bit better, I can crack on with something new. But yesterday I did play my first game on my 10-game list.
Well, congratulations.
We played, me and Tony played live last night, a game, battle from the Norman Conquest's Men of Iron series. Great fun. This was it was a small map, and it was like they were there, I was there. Bang! It was straight away. Yeah, straight away.
That looks like a really good game.
It's just great. It's easy enough to play, but there's enough crunch in there to make it interesting and fun. And it was an interesting battle, Stamford Bridge, which was a month before the Battle of Hastings. This was in September 1066. The Battle of Hastings, of course, is in October. And
how did you do?
I won.
Yeah.
Historically, the Saxons won. See, they were going through a bit of everybody was invading us at that time.
Yep.
This battle was about the Norwegians had taken a fancy and had come across, but we saw them off. And of course, months later, old Harold had to trump down to Hastings, try and stop the what do you call it? Oh, blimey!
The Normans.
The Normans, yeah, they had a brain fart. Sorry, stop the Normans. Yeah, well, of course he didn't. But yeah, that was great fun. So that's number one ticked off.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I'm already on number 3 since we're in March now.
Yeah, hopefully now I can crack
you're not getting your extra point for doing one every month, are you?
No, look, come on.
I mean, you're not going to win anything, Ruff, if you keep this up.
Jester, I was expecting you to have like 25 games already played this year so far.
Sir, I got 53 from the start of the year.
Excuse me.
53, and I got 114.
They're not all war games, otherwise he'd be winning. You know.
If you want to get in that discussion, I will get into that discussion with you. Nate, how you doing? Good. Welcome. Well, first of all, welcome aboard. Thank you for coming, and we appreciate your interest in the show. And I know for right now you're going to kind of sit in the background and just kind of be part of the show and not do anything on your channel. Do you want to kind of give us just an overview of things so everyone in the chat knows what's going on?
Yeah, sure. So I had last week, I had the time of my life. I had so much fun hanging out with you guys and talking with everyone in the chat. And it was so wonderful and really, really enjoyed it. Really appreciate everyone's kind words to me, particularly on Facebook after you had announced that I had joined. But sort of my goal right now is I'm actually, so I both teach as well as I'm finishing my PhD in history. And I am about ready to begin my dissertation phase, where I won't have a life for a while and just writing everything all day long, reading books and everything, which is fun, but it takes a lot out of you. And so part of, as much as I love being part of the show, is part of the at least for the time being, is the next couple of months, I really want to evaluate for myself of whether or not this is something that I can really continue to do every single week. Because, of course, you can think about like, oh, I can do it here and there and here and there, but think about every single week of a commitment. And so I really want to spend the next couple of months, 2-3 months, however long, to evaluate for myself of really what if this is something I can do moving forward, as well as, I still would like to do videos for my own channel for the Board Game Bunker with me and my friend Ryan. Right now, we're kind of a little bit on hold right now because my friend Ryan is creating his own board game room in his house, and he is building that right now. Nice. So hopefully that will be finished relatively soon. We're hoping sometime in the spring, and then we'll be pumping out more videos. But we'll see. In the time being, I'm just glad to be here. I'm very happy to be here.
Yeah, and you're very welcome, sir. And Thomas, Historic Wings, and myself have the same question. What are you doing your thesis on?
I am doing mine on. So I'm continuing to extend and look at more from my master's thesis.
Which was?
My master's thesis is called. It's actually online. It's published online. The title of it is called "The End Is Upon Us: Attila the Hun and the Christian Apocalypse." And I was looking at specifically of why is it that the Romans, who had converted to Christianity at that point, by the time of Attila, why is it that they saw Attila and the Huns largely as the beginning of the end of the world? And how is it that, the Huns, who were pagans and didn't believe in Christianity, how they used that to further their own political and military goals throughout the period? And I have just been absolutely fascinated by it.
I will next week on the show, we're going to read all about it. So
that's right. It is published online.
Oh my God, that's like 4,000 pages. Oh my God. Anyways, let's say hi to everyone.
Yeah.
Before Airman, welcome Nate, my old friend Steven. Phoenix Knight's here. Don't forget, tomorrow night, we got 2 episodes left in our top 100 board games of all time. Tomorrow night, 8 o'clock.
Yeah, and he's also taken the dive and bought, no pun intended, and got a copy of Silent War himself as well. So we've all got it now, I think, that game.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he's just done an unboxing.
Damn it, Tim. Hey, damn it, Tim.
Oh, Stuka Joe's here.
Christoph. I'm going to say your name, pronounce it.
Yeah.
I would normally say Christopher, right? But
he says everybody calls him.
I heard that yesterday that Tony and you guys were talking, and he's like, "Oh, it's Christoph." So I knew how to pronounce your name. Thank you for coming. Edward, what's going on? David, William Bird, Charles,
all in.
Peter, good to see you guys. Cal Holmes, Nate, Thomas. Let's see, Groucho. What is going on? Good to see everyone. Blue Tweezers is here.
Yeah.
Good to see Blue Tweezers. Hope everything is well. So for those of you who don't know, Blue Tweezers was in the hospital earlier this week with some issues, and so we're good to see.
I didn't know that.
Hopefully he's going to make some, make a recovery and get back on the mend. Let's get back out there, and just looks like things are going back better. So we'll hope for the best, everyone. Let's hope for the best for Blue Tweezers.
Yeah.
Granada Ranch, what's going on? Orlando, you're just a couple hours. You couldn't come down. Come down and visit sometime, man. Jeez. Anyone else? Let's see. Charles.
Charles. We got
Nate. You do need glasses, my friend. You can't be on the show if you don't have glasses.
Yeah. 2020. Sorry.
Stuka Joe is here. Yeah. How you doing, Stuka? Lower, slower board.
I'm glad to see he's got a little spanner because we might need it. Unless it's just me they're spamming from last week.
I was just going to say that. Camp Sawyer.
Thank you.
Hello. Good to see you. Eric, what is going on? Meandering Mike. I was watching. Meandering Mike did a great job.
Of the Herbert Lupton game.
He did a great job of the Struggle for Zorn, kind of an overview, how to play, and I've been watching that. because I've actually got it out and was thinking about playing it. So thank you for that, Meandering Mike.
It's a 3-hour video, so well done.
2 hours, yeah, 2 hours and 45 minutes, I think is what it is.
Yeah,
so it's a pretty in-depth one. Yeah, best of blue for sure. We'll be praying for a recovery, man. So dodgy for a couple months. Okay, all right.
All right, well, let me know.
Yeah, let us know if we need to have you on before you cork it over. Let us know.
Yeah, want to make it. Yeah,
so, yeah, we'll see about that. So, a couple announcements. Again, obviously, Nate's going to be with us for a while. It's going to be just me and Ruff channels for a little while until Nate decides what he wants to do with this channel and which channel he's going to put it on. So it'll be just alternating back and forth. But Nate being part of us, well, he'll be picking topics. He'll be posting on the Facebook group and doing all the normal stuff, hopefully.
Right. We'll just talk about my Attila the Hun for, I'm just kidding.
Wow. I think it's very interesting, but man, that is going to be.
128 pages published so far, so that'll be
how many?
128.
128.
So what new knowledge will you be giving to the world with your PhD?
Looking how to look at that era in a different way, as well as the final major battle between the Romans and the Huns at the Battle of the Catalonian Plains in June 451. I made a discovery in one of my I took a class, one of my classes back in the fall, where I was able to kind of keep extending, write a chapter for the dissertation. I made a major discovery that will change how that battle is viewed from now on.
Well, there you go. That's what a PhD does. It furthers science or furthers knowledge or whatever, it's adding to it rather than just.
Yep. The discovery comes from one guy in the 1890s that did he was trying to translate the Latin that the battle is written in from Jordanes into English, and he did it wrong. And then everyone has taken it from since then. And because I remember I was during when I was trying to figure this out, I'm reading it and I'm going, this doesn't sound right. This doesn't. Why do people keep saying this when this doesn't sound right? And then finally, I figured it out and was like, oh,
because it isn't.
That's right. People are mistranslating it.
People only know what they're taught. Like if I teach you 2 + 2 is 5, you will know 2 + 2 is 5 because that's what you were taught. You will not know any different. You will not know any different throughout your history until you go back and go, oh, wait a minute. Why is that? Why is 2 + 2 = 5 when it doesn't seem right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Ooh, that's what I've been told. Idea there. And the next volume from I, Napoleon is I, Attila.
I, Attila the Hun. And a new game. And Camp says maybe it's a new game coming up with a new battle, with the updated battle in it.
Well, I will say this. I have really tried to figure out a way of how to do a really good ancient Roman game. And I think I might have figured it out, but I still need to tinker with it a little bit more. And I can't quite figure out whether or not it'll be hex encounter or point to point at this point.
Okay.
Ooh.
Sounds good. Yeah, new war game for sure. Yeah. We could have a budding designer on our. I mean, Ruff. This is what we do with our people, man. We just
and then they go off
and leave greatness. That's all we do. We inspire them to greatness.
They go off and leave us. They leave us all lonely.
Jester, where's your game? And Ruff, where's your game?
Oh, you've got to have a different mind to design a game. I haven't got that mind. I haven't got the mind to read rules, but I do my best. But yeah, no. The people who design games are. I would have to stand on their shoulders, and I wouldn't be able to get up there.
Well, it's also very interesting. I think that and maybe that's a subject for a different show, because today's subject for our show is, what is the process you use and what's the decisions you make when you decide whether or not to buy a new game that's coming out? And what's the process you use for that? What's the first question you ask yourself when you decide whether or not to buy a game? Bruff?
I think, not war games, but other games, I think, as that sod Jester just convinced me to buy another game.
Yeah. Besides that, what's the second thing you think of?
I don't normally buy games that have been out a while. I have done a couple of them, and they're the Compass games. Normally, as we know, we all do. We get our P500s, and we just fingers crossed that. And 9 times out of 10, of course, they are the games you want. But if I'm buying a game like Western Front Ace, that took me a long time to decide. I watched a lot of videos and unboxings and everything. And then I thought, yeah, I'm going to go for that. And the same with Combat, ! Because it's an expensive game. I made sure by watching video. It's YouTubers is my big downfall. If none of you lot made YouTube videos, I wouldn't buy so many games.
Nate, what do you think? What's the first question that goes through your head?
I have to agree with Ruff. Both of you have been a huge downfall for me because I watch your videos and then no sooner I finish it, I go buy it.
Sorry. But
okay,
yeah,
well,
it's terrible.
Subject matter priority. We're going to get into it later. I just thought we could,
I'll give you my first one, and it has to be the subject matter first.
Yeah.
I mean, as a history guy,
that's the tickle.
No, you're all missing it. That's not the first thing that goes through your head. The first thing you think of when you see a brand new game is, do I already own this game?
Oh yeah, yes. I think you're the only person. One of the
few. I own this game? Because if I own it, then I don't need to look. If I don't own it, then I do need to look. So that's
how many have you bought twice?
Lots.
How many have you bought twice?
That one I've just done the unboxing for the Vijonara. Yeah,
not too many games I bought twice. Why do you think? Why do you say that, Nate?
I mean, maybe I don't want to criticize here, but maybe if your shelves were a little more organized, then you could remember.
Yeah, that was long gone. That's long gone.
Long gone. That's true.
I don't buy games twice, Nate. Why would you say that? Why would you accuse me of that?
Oh man, bless my heart. Oh my gosh. They can't be cheap either.
No, they're all big box games, aren't they?
So what do you do with them? Like, are you going to sell it? Are you going to give it to a friend? Are you going to set it on the sidewalk and say free for anyone that walks by?
He sends them to me. That's what he does.
I send the extra ones to my buddies. And a lot of them are because I buy like packages and it might include like several games in it or whatever. Or I get it for really cheap. And I'm like, it could be something I can give away for a reward to one of the viewers or whatever. So
yeah, I mean, Tweezer's got a good reason why he buys games.
Where's that?
Up the top. I think that yeah.
Yeah. Spot on, Jester.
Now, I mean, I could understand buying a game twice if, say, you want, like, you've ruined your components in your game, like, the map tour or whatever.
Or there's an updated version sort of
right,
thing.
Yeah.
Let's raffle up some of Double Jester.
Yeah.
You would not believe how many I actually have. I have quite a few, but most of them are for purpose. Like, for example, that Marvel Legendary. I've got a bunch of the expansions. And when I bought that extra box, it came with a couple of the expansions and the base game. And the reason I kept that box is because it fits all the cards in it. So
there we go. I like this lower, slower. This is about inventory control today.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the first question that should go through your head is, do I own this game? Yes or no? If you own the game, then you should say, okay, put it down. Put it down.
Yeah.
Let it go. Let it go if you already own this game. So I have 3 copies of Victory Games Civil War. It's because I love the game. There you go. I own, and this is going to seem a little obsessive, and you guys will tell me if I am. You know the game Dominion, and you know that Dominion
actually you love that game.
15 expansions, 15 box expansions.
Good.
They're all up there. I bought 2 copies of the game. One so I could have 1 full copy of Dominion with all the expansions, and then I have another copy that I use to actually play the game. Is that a little excessive?
A little, but you know, our hobby is an obsessive hobby, so you know it.
Yeah, it can be a little bit excessive. I admit it, but you know, I do. I mean, here's the thing. This is what I spend my money on. So I mean, a lot of people spend their money on other things. You know,
women and drugs.
I mean, I don't spend my money on anything else. This is all I have my money to spend my money on. Huh?
Women and drugs for me.
Huh?
Women and drugs.
Oh yeah, I don't have any. I don't.
No, talk about you. Talk about my foibles. All right, not all about you.
Yeah, you're right. I need to buy the wife a present. I probably will buy her a present. Actually. Second question. So you've now looked at the game and you go, "Oh, I don't own this one."
Okay.
What's the second question that should go through your head?
Will I play it?
No, before that.
Okay.
Before whether or not you're going to play the game.
I'll let you go.
Well, if you're talking about cost, it's. I mean,
let me know. Before the cost, you don't even know how much it costs. This is before the cost of the game. It is whether or not. Where are you going to put this game in your collection? Like, do I have room for this game?
I've gone past, like you, I've gone past that now. Before it's like, I can't buy any more games, got nowhere to put them. But as soon as the first one comes in, you haven't got room for, that's it. Exactly. It's out the door, you know, because you go, I'll just put another one on top of that one now. There we go, on the table. Yeah.
See, I'm super thankful that in my office here, I have a long walk-in closet. So I have plenty of space for board games.
I used to think that
now. Wait until you get 1,389.
Well, there's 100 in there so far.
Okay. Can you fit another? Multiply all those by 13. Can you still fit them in there?
No.
We're going to run out of room before you're 40. All right. So
you almost need to go buy a storage unit.
One more. There is. You have to be creative in your space saving. You have to decide. Like I've got many games that I've got the base game and 2 or 3 expansions all jammed in the box. So because if you're looking at the game and then the expansions, it's amazing how much space they take up. Great example of that is this game right here. You would not believe what I have in this inside this box. I have 2 full core games of this game and 1 expansion in this box. In this one little box.
Well, I'll have to tell you one of the things. So, like, I store all my games standing up straight, and I don't like to put them on their back because I'm always afraid that the more I stack, the weight from those that are above are going to start crushing everything below.
Let me tell you from experience, my friend, these boxes are a lot harder and a lot tougher than you think. I've got minimum 15 boxes stacked up.
I think in the day, in the 70s and 80s, you know, they were a bit flimsy, the boxes. And when you buy a game from that period, they're buckled.
Yeah.
You know, but GMT boxes, and
they're like bulletproof.
They're Blast Pop calls them nuclear proof, you know. So it's
it's all about organizing your boxes so that they all fit the same way. And then what you're going to do is you're going to stack 2 or 3 rows the same way, right? You're going to stack 2 or 3 the same way. We're going to have a little discussion here about this.
We're going to be Blue Peter going.
And you're all going to have the same height. And then what you're going to do on top of them is you're going to stack like this, because the weight of this then is generated over several boxes, right? And then you're going to do that several times like this. And then
lentil.
On top of that, you're going to start stacking them like this again, like that. See?
Or do what Stuka says, put the crappy games on the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? And then of course the heavier games, the more heavier games, you got to put them on the bottom. They absolutely got to be on the bottom.
Now let me ask this.
A lot of cards in them. You got to go on the bottom.
So let me ask this for both of you, because I could see a lot of your games behind you. Is there any sort of method to how you put them together? Are they put together by company, by era, by designer, by how big and thick the box is? And
they're well, they used to be, but now it's just I've got to fit that one in there. I've got to redo it. So I do them by company, by publisher, and then within that publisher's bit in temporal order. So
Okay. So I do mine just like my books. Is they all have to be in chronological order.
Yeah.
And despite the company.
Oh no, because otherwise it'd be horrible to the eye. You'd have, because Compass boxes look different to GMT boxes, which look different to Decision and look different. So my OCD would cry out, and it wouldn't work. But at the moment, it's all a bit higgledy piggledy because I've had to try and fit them in. So I've got to take them off.
Well, you have Space Empires is next to like B-17 leader, and
that's because, but all the Space Empires are there. Then we've got Horror, but that's GMT. So
Game Jenga. I like that. Yes.
Yeah. That was the end of the GMT. Then the DVG starts.
Oh, I see. Okay. Yep.
Yeah. And I know. Yes.
What's that publisher that's right below on that shelf?
This one here.
What's that publisher name?
Hold on. I just got to do something. Oh, do you mean these here? Oh, this. Oh, that's Lock and Load. Look, cheers.
What do you know?
Cheers, everybody. Cheers.
Cheers, everyone. But yeah, they look just nice together, don't they?
They do.
Storage Wing is actually my first question is an airplane game. No, first question.
Other games, Thomas. I love my airplane games. There are other games.
Well, we'll talk about that obviously in a little bit later. Announcement time. We talked about Nate being here. Mm-hmm. Congratulations, Nate. Second of all, tomorrow, Sunday, 8:00, we're gonna have our top 20 to down to 11 with Phoenix Knight and Higher Ground Gaming, our top 100 board games of all time. We're down. Yeah, it's gone quick. We're down to our top 20 already. Holy crap. And then Tuesday, we do the final, top 10. So looking forward to that. What other announcements do we have, Ruff? What? Are you and Tony planning anything?
Oh, no. It'd probably be every other week. And I think we're going to try a bit of musket and pike next.
Ooh. Really?
So, yeah, that's another one on my list. It's on his list as well. And yeah.
Oh, how convenient. How convenient.
So you got to work the system.
Nate, are you part of our challenge? Did you get in that?
This is, I was dreading the moment when you asked me this because I failed. And
we all failed apart from a couple.
Well, but I mean, I'll definitely play 10 games. I mean, I've already got 2 done so far. I like to play them a lot, like multiple times, so I can see if I like it or not and anything. But I failed to provide a 10-game list.
Oof.
But I do have a list.
We're going to be looking for a new co-host soon. Just let us know. Nate's going to not be here too long.
I do have a list, though, that I came up with.
Oh, okay.
So I've already done. Excuse me. I've already done 4 now. I played Mr. President.
Okay.
I played Prime Minister.
What do you think of Mr. President?
I love the concept of the game. I love all of the different sort of things that you can do. I have to say the constant dice rolling really, really got to me. I got so, I don't know, it's like one roll after another. Roll for this, then roll for that, and roll for that, and roll for that. And I understand it's a solitaire game. That's kind of what it is. And so that was my first play of it. So I will come back to it and try it again and see, okay, was it just, I just didn't like it in the moment, or, I had a bad pizza or whatever, and see how I like it again. But I really did like Prime Minister.
I was going to ask you, did you like Prime Minister? I know it's not quite what we get up to over here now. It's set in, Victorian times,
right?
Where the Labour Party wasn't around, but
I played a scenario where I was Disraeli against Gladstone, and that was a lot of fun.
Solo?
Yeah, I did. Then I have Plantagenet. I want to play that. I played that last year. I want to play it again. I really enjoyed that. I want to play Downfall. I've watched so many videos on it from GMT, and it looks amazing. And I want to play that. I also want to play North Africa 41 from GMT. I also want to really try to play the entirety of the Great War in Europe Deluxe Edition. Now, this came out in sometime in the earlier 2000s. It's from Ted Racer. It originally was in 2 magazine games from Command, the Great War in Europe and then the Great War in the Near East. And GMT took them and put them together in one box. And I have the magazines. I've played those and enjoyed them, but I want to try the boxed version because there's additional things that are added to it, a lot of events and different optional things. So it plus the graphic design looks, I think, a lot better. So anyway,
we've been threatening to play Downfall. We've been talking about it ever since it was released a couple months ago, and we just never got around to it. And maybe we will, maybe we won't. It's I hear a lot of good things. I don't know anything about it other than I bought it. So because the first decision was, do I own this game? No. Okay, let's click. Let's add. Looks good.
I bought it and got the mounted map, and I set up the whole game and just kind of fiddled with it a little bit. And from my little fiddliness with it, it really looked good.
Awesome. Good.
Because I'm always asking, is the game okay for solo? And some people like Mike, developer and designer for GMT, Butler Jetley, as we call him, says, yeah, it's okay. Because he says, yeah, okay, because he played with all the rules, everything. Don't think about people like me. Anyway, he said it's fine. But we had Nate on, Wise Guy History on.
Yeah.
And I asked him, and he said, to be honest, there's a lot to handle for a solo because you're playing you're playing the Germans against the Russians and the Russians against the Germans. And you're having to deal with that as one person. It's quite a lot.
Yeah, because it's not necessarily just 2 factions. It's actually 4.
It's the different groups, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it's a lot to handle, was his sort of thingy. But I've got it. I got it in the sale. So it only cost me $25, I think. So
nice.
That's why it's there. Yeah, I didn't get the mounted map with it, but although that's on order.
Didn't it come with the mounted map or no?
It's a big map, so I'm going to have trouble fitting it on.
Maybe I ordered that separately. I don't know.
I think it's on the P500, but
it is right now.
For that size game, is that being a mounted map, it doesn't matter if it overlaps the table a bit, so it doesn't droop. So
it's definitely, I think, a multiplayer.
Yeah.
game is. I mean, sure, it might have a solo mode, but I don't know how well.
I don't think it does.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't have a solo mode.
Yeah, you just play it as both. You play as everything, you know.
Yeah.
So
well, that's hard enough when you're doing like Paths of Glory or Barbarossa to Berlin or something.
Yeah.
So that's crazy trying to do. I mean, that's just doing 2 factions, let alone 4. Oh my god, that would be nutso.
But I'd like to play it, so who knows? You know, we'll see. Yeah. Maybe a PunchCon, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, there you go.
Are you going this year?
Oh yeah. Tickets booked. Yeah.
Tickets. Oh, when is that?
May the 11th, something or other.
Oh man, I hope I'm not gone that weekend.
He'll be on his own.
Well, new guys be on his own. Yeah, that'd be crazy. Stick him out there all by himself.
We wouldn't do that to him. I think it's the 11th, 12th, and 11th.
May
12th, 10th, 11th, 12th. I think.
Actually, I think Buckeye Game Fest is the last week of April and the beginning of let's see, April.
I think you're right. Yeah,
and then it'd be like 29th, 30th of April, and then the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th. So if I go up there for that, it'll be the first weekend. So I'll be going for that, and then you'll be gone the second weekend. Whoa, we're gonna need somebody, Nate. You better be here.
Okay.
Better be planning on it.
I will tell you this. I completely agree with Historic Wings. Hit the like button, everybody.
Well, there you go.
Got to smash
that like broken, Rough.
Yeah. Is it still playing up? Give it a try. Poor old sod needs all the help he can get.
Yeah, I can definitely do that. Because I don't have enough videos out. So I noticed that Dan was like, I can't put all of his videos in again.
Oh, yeah. He just says now, and he says, ID Jester, a lot of videos, and then moves on. You know, so.
He just does a lot of stuff. You'll have to go watch his channel because I can't see it all.
Yeah,
and half the things I title, he can't read or understand what the hell I'm doing. So
I mean, him and Aardwolf and they talk about booze and whatever all the time more than games.
Well, we do go off the track a little, but you know.
More than I buy. Hey, now let's not get crazy. I don't buy that many games. I buy a few extras, but it's normally because I like the game.
It's drooping,
and it's worth it in my opinion. I play a lot of games with cards, so I like to have a backup copy because if I run out, if I use up the cards, then I'll have a spare. So.
Let me ask this: how often have you had any games from both of you? Any games where the components kind of wear out because you've played it so much?
Well, that was kind of my point the other day with Phoenix Knight because he was talking about sleeving his cards.
Yeah, he's asleep like me,
and I used to do that all the time. I've got thousands and thousands of card sleeves, and I've been going through every one of my games and taking off the card sleeves for two reasons. Number one is I like the feel of the cards much more than I like the feel of the card sleeves. Those card sleeves just make it too slippery. I will say this, though, it's a lot easier to shuffle cards in with card sleeves on. So that's the first thing. The second thing is with card sleeves is for that reason. Like how many games – I mean, the reason you use card sleeves is to protect it, right? So it's going to be good 2, 3, 5, 10, 20 years from now, right? How many games in the last 20 years have I worn out where I can't use it anymore? 0. Absolutely 0. There's no game that I've worn out that I can't use it. And the one game, like I said, Dominion, that I play a lot, I've got a spare copy. And I use one copy and the other copy's up top just for my own peace of mind.
Yeah, but it's a preference. There's no point having my preference is to sleeve because, yes, okay, I'm probably not going to wear it out, but it's just, yuck on the cards. I'd rather get the yuck on the sleeve, and you can
what
wipe
yuck
that
are you doing? That's what I want to know. Is
natural oils and acids from your fingers. Everybody's got it. So
clean your hands once in a while, Rough.
Huh?
Clean your hands once in a while.
It doesn't matter about washing your hands. As soon as you wash your hands, your body goes, "Oh, we need to exude some more crap." So
okay, so all right. So let me ask you, how do you handle
an argument? It's a preference. Your preference is not to sleeve. Mine is. Both are just as valid. There we go.
No, mine is much more valid.
I don't think Jester agrees with that.
That's tough.
Yeah, I don't know. Ruff doesn't know what he's talking about, as usual.
There you go. See, that's the answer I get. Disagree.
You can't get them back in the box because the designers haven't figured out yet. What I should do is make a bigger area.
Mm-hmm. And I'm finding that with sleeving everything in Eon's End, the bloody thing won't go back in the box. So I'm having to think. So.
Yeah, you don't go back. And then the other thing I hate is you stack them, right? And because they're so slippery, they just fall over. You can't stack a big pile.
That stops after a while. The sort of breathing, when you put them on for the first time and you squash them down, they sort of breathe back up. But that stops after a while. But anyway, you've decided not to sleeve, and that's good. I sleeve, and Phoenix Knight sleeves. It's just. My whole Arkham,
here's
Eldritch
the thing.
Horror.
I can give you 12 reasons why you shouldn't sleeve, and you can only give me one reason.
Well, you should.
I mean, but some games, it's just the amount of cards that are. I mean, okay, Ruff. Let me ask this: is there any game where there's just a vast amount of cards that you just decide it ain't worth it?
No.
I mean,
I've sleeved the complete Eldritch Horror core and all the expansions, all the little cards, all the big cards. It's all sleeved.
Really?
I mean,
yeah, everything.
That's crazy.
I mean, I have the deluxe edition of Europa Universalis that came out last year, and that has 700 cards in it. And I know if I sleeve them all, that it will not go back in the box.
No, you have to store them somehow separately. Yeah.
Well, at $50, at $3 for 700 sleeves is only going to cost you like another $80 or $90 to sleeve your game.
Well,
I mean, cost that much.
I mean, when I got Europa Universalis for $8, so I didn't.
You got it for $8?
I did. It was on. They were doing a thing where it was like last minute. Put it in, buy it on our website. Like it's coming from the printer, and you can get in the first shipment. And I thought it was like $228.
And don't clip the corners of the sleeves. That'd be so dumb.
and I thought, okay, I'll do it. So I did, and I bought it and everything. Well, I had $20 extra for something that I forgot what it was. So put that in the bank. And then the next week I got, from where I live, my state sent me for some reason, they sent me a $200 tax refund just because, hey, this is what we want to do to everybody that lives in the state. And I'm like, wow, this game cost me $8.
Okay. That's not bad.
Yeah.
Not bad. Not bad. Yeah. Warfighter with expansions can have a big stack.
Boy.
Yeah.
Tell me about it. Warfighter in that. Warfighter in the, what they call it, the ammo box.
What are those things in front of your box there?
Where?
Right there. There's like 3 of them stacked up.
These?
Yeah.
These I weren't thrown away because I might have to put cards that are sleeved in them.
Okay.
They're nice little trays inside. So I
and you don't need to do that if you don't sleeve your cards. So.
Well, I prefer to sleeve.
You're nutso.
In your opinion, but having an opinion doesn't make you right.
I mean, his room that he's working on fixing
Even
up.
Jester makes me right.
All the cards at.
Don't you start. They're ganging up with me already, everybody.
I tell you. All right. Nate is a good choice. Thirsty sometimes guy like Jern. Not sure what he's talking about there.
30-ish.
30-ish.
30-ish. Yeah. Oh, okay, got it. 30-ish. I thought he was reading his card.
Thinking the
I'm
wrong.
not doing my dissertation anytime soon. Nate, do you play sports games at all?
I've used to long time ago, but they were PC games.
Okay, you just played on the PC. You don't have like any of the sports.
No, I don't have any of those
cards. Like even Ruff has sports cards.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, not sports cards. The printy out, dice and cards, isn't it? They call it dice and cards games, baseball games.
Yeah, it's a baseball on the. You print them out.
And, that's it.
And I was just wondering because
problem I have, of course, because they're PDFs for American size paper. I have to sort of
not A4.
A4 over here. You've got 8.5 by 11, haven't you, or something?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah, they're slightly weird to cut out, so they're slightly different size to ones you.
I mean, we still use the imperial standard, so.
Yeah, but no, it's old-fashioned. It's like your gallon, though. Your gallon is completely different to our gallon. It's smaller.
Our gallon's smaller?
Yep.
Really?
Yeah. The American gallon isn't the imperial gallon.
Oh, okay. I'm getting
found that
out
out when I used to make beer.
I'm going to go tell my gas station I'm not getting the imperial gallon. I want more gas for my price.
Oh, I don't know what the moan is about petrol going up. I can still get 20 quid's worth of petrol. I don't know what the problem is.
How much is it for a gallon of gas over
there?
It's
in liters over here.
Oh, it's in liters.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And we've left the EU. We're still. They said, "Well, we'll bring back gallons." But they didn't, and inches and things. I'm lucky. I can work in both. Also, being as my university degree.
A good choice, like Tony, 30-something, a teacher, and an academic. He just has a lot more hair.
Yes,
and he doesn't say "so" every 10 seconds.
What?
And he doesn't say "so" every 10 seconds.
So.
Like Tony used to so. It used to drive me so crazy.
I mean, if you really want me to, I can.
No,
up to you.
That's all right. I think we'll go. I think we'll go without. So, Ruff, you feeling any better?
Thank you, Ian. He's just look. There we go. So he's just put it down. 160 fluid ounces for a gallon. Only 128 fluid ounces for yours. So you're being conned.
Well, there you go. We're getting ripped off over here.
Let's hope your inches are the same.
It's probably some British tax that we're still fighting over.
And your US tons are lighter as well. Oh dear.
Our tons are lighter. Yeah, of course. What you like the ancient times, Nate? Huh?
I do. I love all kinds of history, but I really love ancient history.
And what is
I'm getting into it?
Is Attila the Hun kind of your most interesting part of that, or is it something else?
I mean, I'm most interested in like all of ancient Rome, but I had to kind of, when I was starting my master's at first, I had to kind of pick where am I going to narrow my focus. And I'll tell you this is very strange, is that what first gave me the idea to focus on Attila the Hun came from a computer game.
Okay.
It was Total War Attila.
Yeah. I remember that.
And the game kind of puts the whole thing in kind of apocalyptic kind of mindset or whatever. And I was playing the game once going, I wonder if there's anything to that. And then that started the whole thing. And, but yeah, anything in ancient Rome. I went to Greece last year and loved visiting ancient Greece and seeing everything there, and the Minoans and Spartans and the Athenians, and I love ancient Egypt. So yeah, all of them. I like rough. I love it all.
That's good.
Yeah.
So you get 1 quart for free. Okay. And that's why Americans drink coffee and not tea.
Well, do you realize in times gone by, in days of yore, tea was more expensive than gold in this country? Yeah,
I bet it was. British pound is bigger than the American dollar.
At what point, tulips, I believe, was more important than most things. Ooh, actually, I have it sitting right here because this was going to be part of our discussion, but I can hold off if you want.
Yeah, you got to keep them wanting. You got to keep them wanting.
All right.
If you tell them everything now, they'll go.
And they'll leave.
That's true. That's true. Absolutely.
Say, well, if you want to know what the answer is, you stick around till our discussion. American dollar is only 14 ounces. The most expensive commodity for 400 or 500 years was the pepper.
Yeah, and also the other expensive, I know we're going off the thing, but it's quite interesting, is saffron. You heard of saffron?
Yes.
The yellow. It's from the crocus. It's the anthers from the crocus. And
you ever played this?
Oh, all right.
No. This is the Voyages of Marco Polo. And the reason I bring this up is because the resources that you use in this are pepper and sapphires and all of these weird, like, commodities things. It doesn't actually tell me on the back what they are. But anyways, when you brought that up, I'm like, oh, yes. I played a game with pepper. And I was like, I thought that was a weird thing. Like, pepper? Why am I trying to gain pepper?
Because it was imported. It was an exotic thing. Yeah, like saffron. It's still today is far more expensive than gold. And there's a place near where I live called Saffron Walden, which is where they used to grow the crocuses in days of yore again to harvest the saffron to stop it because they had to import it all the time, which is what makes it expensive. But yeah, Saffron Walden.
Or I give you another one of up until not too distant past. Most of the glass that was given and bought and sold and everything was from one island next to Venice, the island of Murano.
Yeah, I've been there.
Me too. Watched them make a glass horse right in front of me.
Crazy, isn't it? Crazy.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Super hot in there, though.
Oh, yeah.
The heat.
Yeah.
Oh, huh. That's interesting.
But yeah, most of the glass came from that island for long time.
Well, again, learning things like these are important things we need to know. And passed down through generations.
History, yeah.
I always find it interesting how when you read these old battles and stuff, like you only hear the side from the winners because the losers they don't get to say what happened. It's amazing, especially these ancient battles. The stuff that goes on and the details and everything are all about how great the winners were and how terrible the losers were. And I mean, who's going to be there to debate it? Who? Nobody.
One of the things that one of the reasons that I got so much into history, I mean, my entire family is I love studying people. I love watching people. I love trying to figure out people because people are just weird. And I'll never, ever be able to figure it all out and people all out because everybody changes and things like that. But studying history, you find that a lot of people in the past, sure, that they live different lives, but there's a lot of similarities, and you can see similar things as you go back and look at an event and go, I can see that, or okay, maybe not. It's really interesting to watch people. Like I'll give you an example. Like one of my favorite stories is from medieval France in Paris. one of the, I don't remember the particular name of the king, some King Louis, one of them. And since there were 18 of them, and it's by the end. But anyway, there was this guy in Paris. He was a student at the University of Paris. He was studying for a test, and he was pulling an all-nighter. And even in, I think it was like the 1300s. So even, 700 years ago, he's pulling an all-nighter. And he was, back then, when you had to go to the bathroom, you went to the bathroom and there was a bucket in the corner of your house, and you went in there, and then the next morning you opened your window and you dumped out your bucket onto the street, and there would be little channels in the street that supposedly is going to take it down to the river. And it's why medieval towns were extremely nasty. But the guy studying, and the next morning, he grabs his bucket and he opens the window and dumps his bucket out, only to discover that the King of France is underneath the bucket. He gets drenched all over it and everything. And the king comes up and, pounded on the door, what's going on here? And he's like, oh my gosh, I just dumped all this on the king. I'm so sorry, please forgive me and everything. And this is what I was doing. I was studying for a test. And apparently the king was so impressed that he was studying for a test that he gave him a royal scholarship.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. Those are kind of stories that I like looking at. That. But those are kind of stories that this is why I like history. This is why I like playing history. This is why I like war games, because you understand people.
Well, we're supposed to have stuffed peppers for dinner tonight, so they're not that. That's
not peppers. It's pepper. Pepper.
Ruff, what happened today in history, my friend? What happened today?
I haven't got a clue. A bit weird today, March the 1st.
What happened in British history on today?
Well, I'll see what I can do to scratch that itch for you. But we start seeing weird. Not a lot. There's big gaps. 1776, American Revolutionary War. There you go. Patriot militia units attempt to prevent capture of supply ships in and around the Savannah River by a small fleet of the Royal Navy in something called the Battle of the Rice Boats. Now, the Battle of the Rice Boats was a land and naval battle of the American Revolutionary War that took place, as I said, around the Savannah River on the border between the province of Georgia and the province of South Carolina. Today and tomorrow, 1776. The battle pitted the Patriot militia from Georgia and South Carolina against a small fleet of the Royal Navy. In December 1775, the British Army was besieged in Boston, and in need of provisions, a Royal Navy fleet was sent to Georgia to purchase rice and other supplies. The arrival of this fleet prompted the colonial rebels who controlled the Georgia government to arrest the British royal governor, James Wright, and to resist the British seizure and removal of supply ships anchored at Savannah. Some of the supply ships were burned to prevent their seizure, some were recaptured, but most were successfully taken by the British. So that's today, the Battle of the Rice Boats. The title intrigued me. Then we skip forward to 1941. World War II. The first German military units enter Bulgaria after it joins the Axis Pact. The history of Bulgaria during World War II encompasses an initial period of neutrality until the 1st of March 1941, a period of alliance with the Axis powers that lasted until 8th of September 1944, and a period of alignment with the Allies in the final year of the war. Bulgaria's military forces occupied, with German consent, part of the kingdoms of Greece and Yugoslavia, which Bulgaria laid claim to. Bulgaria resisted Axis pressure to join the war against the Soviet Union, which began on the 22nd of June 1941, but did declare war on Britain and the United States on the 13th of December 1941. The Red Army entered Bulgaria on the 8th of September 1944. Bulgaria declared war on Germany the next day. So, yeah, bit of a checkered past with the Bulgarians, but they allowed the Germans in today. 1943, Second World War. During the Battle of the Bismarck Sea, Allied aircraft defeated a Japanese attempt to ship troops to New Guinea. The Battle of the Bismarck Sea, from today to the 4th of March, 43, took place in the Southwest Pacific area during World War II, when aircraft of the US 5th Air Force and Royal Australian Air Force attacked the Japanese convoy carrying troops to Lae, I don't know how you pronounce that, in New Guinea. Most of the Japanese task force was destroyed and Japanese troop losses were heavy. Now, the Japanese convoy was a result of a Japanese Imperial General Headquarters decision in December 42 to reinforce their position in the Southwest Pacific. The plan was devised to move some 6,900 troops from Rabaul directly to Lae. The plan was understood to be risky because Allied air power in the area was strong, but it was decided to proceed because otherwise the troops would have to be landed a considerable distance away and march through inhospitable swamp, mountain and jungle terrain without roads before reaching their destination. On the 28th of February 1943, the convoy, comprising 8 destroyers and 8 troop transports with an escort of approximately 100 fighter aircraft, set out from Simpson Harbour in Rabaul. The Allies had detected preparations for the convoy, and naval code breakers in Melbourne and Washington, D.C. had decrypted and translated messages indicating the convoy's intended destination and date of arrival, so it was doomed to failure from the start. The Allied air forces had developed new techniques, such as skip bombing, that they hoped would improve the chances of successful air attacks on ships. They detected and shadowed the convoy, which came under sustained air attack on today and tomorrow, March 43. Follow-up attacks by PT boats and aircraft were made on the 4th of March on lifeboats and rafts. All 8 transports and 4 of the escorting destroyers were sunk. Of 6,900 troops who were badly needed in New Guinea, only about 1,200 made it to Lae. Excuse me. Another 2,700 were rescued by destroyers and submarines and returned to Rabaul. The Japanese made no further attempts to reinforce Lae by ship, greatly hindering their ultimately unsuccessful efforts to stop Allied offences in New Guinea. And that battle is one of the battles in this huge box of Pacific War.
Oh, yeah.
So that started today. What else we got here? 1949. Captain James Gallagher lands his B-50 Superfortress Lucky Lady II in Fort Worth, Texas, after completing the first non-stop around-the-world airplane flight in 94 hours and 1 minute. The plane, unfortunately, later suffered an accident, and only the fuselage is preserved, which is a bit sad. 1965, the US and Republic of Vietnam Air Force begin Operation Rolling Thunder, a sustained bombing campaign against North Vietnam. And lastly, 2015, the last surviving Dambuster pilot, squadron leader Les Munro, decided to sell his gallantry medals awarded for the famous raid and donate the proceeds to the then newly built Bomber Command Memorial in London, dedicated to the 55,573 airmen killed during the Second World War. I think, unfortunately, squadron leader Les Munro died a few months later in August in 2015. But that's what happened today.
Wow, fascinating.
Good stuff. Good stuff. So do you want to go next?
Yeah, no, go ahead, Jester.
You want me to go next? All right. So
my favorite part.
We're going to go to everyone's favorite part of the whole show. I mean, you'll see like half the people will leave after this segment. Jester's Jeopardy. I'm thinking of a game, Nate. I'm thinking of a game. It's a good one. It's a good one. I'm thinking of a good one.
Okay. How many did we have to do last week until we got it? I think it was like 10 or 15.
That's good. That's
10 or
good.
11. Yeah, 10 or 11 is about normal. That's fine.
Okay. Is this the setting of the game?
The setting of the game. Oh, we're going right with the setting. Wow, okay.
Oh, 16.
12,
is this
14,
before
11? They're guessing how many picks it's going to take you. 472. All right.
Thanks, Tweez. Thanks for your confidence.
22 for Edward. Yeah, they don't have any confidence in you. You got to show these yahoos just what you're made out of, Nate. Let's go.
Is this? I assume this is a war game, by the way. That this is this set before or after? Or
no questions.
So. No questions. Okay. Is this set before World War II?
Is it set before World War II? Yes, it is.
Okay. Go ahead, Ruff.
Oh, yeah, right. Before World War II.
Does Jester own more than one copy?
Yeah.
You're killing me.
My second question is, how many copies do you own of this game? Yeah, there we go. Do I own this game?
No. That question number 2 is no, Ruff.
Okay.
I don't believe Ruff owns this game. No. Question number 3.
Is this game set before the 20th century?
So before 1900?
Correct.
Yes, it's before 1900.
Okay.
Question 4, Ruff.
Would this be classified as an Ancients game?
No, it would not be classified as an Ancients game. Question 5.
Is this game published by GMT?
No, it's not published by GMT. Question number 6.
Is this a Napoleonic game?
No, it's not a Napoleonic game. Question number 7.
Does this game have a lot of errata in it?
Cheeky monkey.
Wow. I don't believe so. No. I could be wrong, but I don't believe it has a lot of errata. No.
Okay.
Question number 8.
Is this... Oh, so it's not Napoleonic. It's not Ancients. Not published by GMT. Is it published by MMP?
No, it's not published by MMP.
Is this a solitaire only game?
No, it's not a solitaire only game. Okay. No.
Is this set in your part of the world, Jester?
In my part of the world.
In America?
Yes, it is set in my part of the world. Yes.
Oh.
Thank you, Thomas.
Is the game published by Worthington?
No, it's not published by Worthington.
I know they did a lot of American themed games.
Well, I'm going to ask it because it's either going to be a Civil War game or American Revolution game. I would have thought then. Is it an American Revolution game?
It is based around the time of the American Revolution. Yes.
Right.
Is this published by Compass Games?
No, it is not published by Compass Games.
Worse for America.
Is it published by White Dog Games?
No, it is not published by White Dog Games.
Bloody hell. No, I can't think of any more.
Neither can
I was thinking Compass with Gilbert Collins's game and all that sort of thing.
Yep, War for
and
America.
White Dog with our Madison, Ben Madison's.
Don't Tread on Me.
Yes.
We're up to number 15, according to
all right.
Board Gamer. So thank you for doing that. He's actually putting in the chat.
Yeah.
We just love it.
He likes to rub it in. That's what he does. He likes to rub it in. Yeah.
Is it published by Hollenspiel?
No, it's not published by Hollenspiel.
So American Revolutionary based game. What other?
Don't look at your collection. You don't own it.
No, well, you don't know that.
I do know you don't own it.
All right, then.
I'm 99% sure you don't own it.
I'm just looking to see if there's any manufacturers I've
got mine on BGG and see what I got.
No, yeah, isn't that Worthington? Oh, hold on. Is it published by, is it Academy Games?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it is published by Academy Games.
Thanks, Tweez.
Thank you.
I'm going to have to ban the chat, it looks like.
Well, he didn't say the name of the company.
Is this 1775 Rebellion?
Is it 1775 Rebellion? Let's find out, shall we? Ding, 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 ding. 17 guesses, and I thought Tony and Ruff were bad. Holy cow. Or was that 16?
For a while, I couldn't think of any more companies.
No, it's only
See, you learned my trick. I start remembering the questions you ask, and I go, nope. I'm going to pick a game that they won't ask about this. So there you go.
Well, you got me.
Rebellion.
Well, we got it. We got it.
Interesting little game about Revolutionary War.
Is it fun? I haven't played it.
And it's a very small footprint game.
A lot of cubes.
If you like the coin game system, you might want to give this one a whirl. Only, unfortunately, this game was published. When was it published? It was published in 2013. So it's going to be a little expensive to find right now. I mean, not superly expensive. I'm talking under $100. You should be able to get it for. Let's see if somebody's got one for sale. Oh, yeah, there's $40, $50. Yeah, you can get them for pretty reasonable still. But they're not, I mean, there's not like thousands of copies around. If this is something you'd be interested in, check it out. It is 2 to 4 players.
The artwork is very good.
Academy Games does a great job in all their games. And they're one of these underrated companies that nobody ever remembers about. That's the reason I was highlighting their game. Is it's a very, very good, interesting game. There's your player board. It's just in different territories. You're going to be playing cards, and then you're going to be putting your little cubes on the board. It looks cool. Without a doubt, a very simplistic system, but it plays great. And once you know the system, you can pretty much, there's like 5 games in the series now. There's 1775, 1776, 1778, I think is what it is. So yeah, not a bad little money.
Edward says it's a great game. So there you go.
All right, there you go. So now we're going to have our debut here. Our debut of Nate's time. What are we going to call this? We're going to call it Nate's.
I don't know. I haven't thought about that
knuckleheaded nonsense. That's what we should call it.
Sure, why not?
That's charming.
I mean, I am an extrovert and I talk a lot. So, my thought was, as a historian, is that I would talk about, since I also try to play a game at least once a week, that I would walk through of games that I'm playing or have played recently, and any great history books that would go with it that could really help you if you want to learn more about exactly what you're playing. Particularly if I always like to do sometimes, particularly if I don't know an era very well, is I play the game and then I go read a book about it and see, I wonder what I did in the game. Does it match, or is it anywhere close to what could have been done or did happen? That's always fun. So I recently played, let me get him out. I recently played War and Peace and played the Jena Auerstadt scenario with the French against the Prussians and the Russians in 1806, 1807. And the French won a resounding victory against them. But there are couple of books that if people are interested in studying and reading about the Napoleonic Wars, they're great. A lot of people look at particularly this book called The Campaigns of Napoleon by David Chandler. It's kind of, it's huge and thick, over 1,000 pages. Yeah. This is kind of considered one of like the quintessential books on the period. Like David Chandler is kind of like one of the main figures in that study. But if you want kind of a shorter book on it, this is a great little book called The Napoleonic Wars by Gunther Rothenberg. This is part of a series that was done by the Smithsonian Institute. And it's only that big. It's, 200 pages. And there's lots of
pickies,
illustrations. What I really like too in here is particularly on some of the maps is they actually show you the battle itself, and you can it kind of walks you through of what happened, which is really neat to see. So this is a great little book if you want just a brief history of the entirety of the period. But if you want a newer book that's out on the period that is it's thick, but it's very good. I've read it. It is The Napoleonic Wars: A Global History. So again, it's thick. Alexander, I can't pronounce his last name. Mika Birtzi. I probably butchered it. Anyway, he's looking at the point of this book is not just looking at the Napoleonic Wars in Europe, which obviously it was, but also around the world. So like the War of 1812, things that happened in like South Africa and India, and how the wars was sort of a global war rather than just Europe beating on each other. So it's a great book. But I've also been playing, I just got yesterday and started playing this game, Gift of the Nile from White Dog from Arbin Madison, and so far I really like it. And there is a couple, if you're ever interested in ancient Egypt, there's some great books on that.
Love ancient Egypt. Love it.
This book, The Rise and Fall of Ancient Egypt by Toby Wilkinson, is a great book. Comprehensive history of the entirety of ancient Egypt. And he does a very, very good job of really kind of charting out that ancient Egypt is a lot different than modern day, or even what necessarily we think about the ancient world. It's a completely different society and how they structured everything. And so he really kind of walks you through on this is a different culture, and they thought about things differently, and which is really, really cool to kind of get that perspective. But then there is another one. This is a part one of a trilogy. It's called A History of Ancient Egypt by John Romer. John Romer is one of the best Egyptologists and archaeologists that has ever existed. He's been on television for many, many decades. And he just finished up the third book in this trilogy. And it is fantastic. He is one of the top Egypt guys that's around. So there's mine, Jester.
Wow. Yeah, get it. Nate games and knows things. Yes, I do. I think Nate loves history, reads the books and the games, and writes PhDs about it. Yeah, it seems like he's.
Yeah, I think he's a little interest in history there.
And then some We've had some interesting ideas for the name of your segment. We've got Nate's Noodles. We have Nate's Biological Bent.
That sounds
Nate's Games Library. Uncle Nate's Tales of History. Nate's Natural Rumbling.
Nature Rumble. Oh, dear.
I think that was it. I think that was all the ones that were suggested so far. Things to think about, Nate. A lot of pressure to name it, but we've got a great group of guys. And, they're the one that came up with Jester's Jeopardy. I thought, oh, that's good. I'm going to steal that. So, Nate's notes. Yeah,
that's good.
We need a logo and everything. We need this done professionally, right?
Yeah. Mine used to be called Rough Remembers, but that was in the dim, distant past.
Yes, it was. Rough Remembers. Yeah. Whatever happened to Rough Remembers?
It just went just disappeared, didn't it? But yeah.
Oh, no, we're gonna bring it back.
Yeah.
We got Jester's Jeopardy, Nate's Notes, and Ruff's Remembers.
Yeah.
We should create a little logo for that. Do you do the logos, Nate? Because Tony used to do our logos for us. So.
I could put it in. I could put it in like Chat GPT and see what it comes up with.
Charming, Phoenix, charming. What are you trying to say?
What's he say? What happened to roast?
Cheeky man, get out of it.
That's my guy. There he is. Tomorrow at 8:00. Me and him. And Higher Ground Gaming as well. Oh my God, that's too funny. All right, so our subject today is are we ready for a subject? Do we have anything else we need to cover? Nate, you're good? I like your segment. I think it'll go well with your love for history and being able to talk about things. The one thing I would throw out, since this is a board game channel, for you to introduce not only the history and the books, I would talk about, or at least introduce games that might cover this as well.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like if you're covering a certain period of time and you want to talk about some books, say, oh yeah, and if you want to play this battle, then you can play it in such and such and such.
Sure.
So anyways.
Great idea.
If anyone else has any ideas, let us know in the chat down below. Nate's been thinking about what his subject for next week's show is. I don't know if he's going to debut it now or if he's going to
Not at the moment.
Okay. He's going to probably post it on the Facebook page. Our subject today is, what is the process you use to determine to buy a new game? There are thousands, literally thousands of new games released every year. I buy most of them, but most people don't. So what is it what is the process you use to determine whether or not you buy the game? What's important to you, I guess, is the question. And I think this is a great subject because I think as our good friend, what's his face over there?
Such a good friend. He can't
Wings. I couldn't think of his name there for a second. Historic Wings thinks it's a great subject because it's like, designers would like to know what goes through our head. Like, what's important to us, what's not important to us, why do we pull the trigger, why do we not pull the trigger in some games? We can't buy all of them, right? We don't buy 1,000 games every year. So why do we only buy the ones we buy? So I will start with Nate. Let him get his say in first.
Are you sure? I mean,
yes.
Okay. Sure. My first consideration when I see a game is what's the theme? What's the subject? I mean, I'm a history guy through and through. So what history is it? And then I look at the graphic design. I'm really interested in how it looks. I'm a very visual person. And so if I'm going to be staring at it for I don't know how many hours, then it better at least look nice. And even all the way, even when it comes to like the box itself. So like, I'll give you an example. Like this game. I love this game, but seeing this box makes me want to go play this game just because it looks super cool. Or the same thing can be said from something that both Ruff and I love, and that is Atlantic Chase.
Yeah.
I see that picture and I'm like, oh, I want to go. I want to go sink some ships. It seems really cool. And
you can see the bad weather there, the horrible situation of the Atlantic.
So let me stop you there. So you've got your game, you've looked at it, and you see the box, and the box has interested you. Right? So time out. Now I'm going to go to Ruff. Ruff, do you do the same thing? You get the box and go, ooh, this looks interesting. Is that kind of step one for you?
Well, when I order a lot on P500, because I love everything, as you know. But the problem with that is that they haven't got the final box art or haven't the final map art, and it's all prototypey.
Yeah.
So that actually does influence me if they haven't got that up yet. But yes, the game is. I mean, look at Wolfpack, how that's changed since we first played it on the channel, and how it's going to be looking now. The box art is fantastic, and everything in there is looking good.
Right.
But yeah, you're quite right. It's got to interest you. The subject has got to interest you. And there's a case in point, a game I didn't buy. Is it the it's like a Trump taking game. It's supposed to be quite good. I think you got it.
The Barrack Emperors.
Yeah. And I looked at that on the P500 and I thought, no, because the way it looked, the subject interests me, but the way it looked, it's like, no, I'll leave that. Of course, it doesn't look anything like it did on the web page. But yeah, it's got to look good. It's got to be something that.
Okay, so let me. So both of you said, yeah, it's got to look good and blah blah blah. So let me stop you right there, and I say to me, I have a question. Did you buy Plantagenet? The Plantagenet? Yes or no?
Plantagenet. I didn't know.
Nate, did you buy it?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Okay. So when you looked at that box, did you go, "Oh, I can't wait to play this game"? And oh, this looks so interesting.
What really? So the subject I had already roped me in, so I was already committed to it. But the real thing that I loved was the map.
Okay. All right. So you looked at the box art and said, I don't know about this. Let me check out what else is in the box. Let me look at the components. So you looked at the components next. Mm-hmm. Yep. And you said, look at this map. Looks nice. Box doesn't look very good, but the map looks very nice. The rest of the components. So after you looked at the box, right, you did your initial. Let me get a war game out here.
I mean, I still have no idea what that box art has to do with the roses, but
no,
it's you got your box, and you go, this is look at that. That looks pretty. And I like ancient stuff. It's got ancients on the cover, right?
Mm-hmm.
Is that kind of what is that like the next step is find out what's inside the box after you look at the box itself?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, I'm asking you.
I mean, once if the theme is good enough and I don't have any games on it, or I don't have, I would say, enough, like certain types of, games on it, then I'm already hooked. Despite the components, I'll deal with it. But if I have plenty of games or plenty of, things that I've played on that subject, then I'm looking the components. It's got to be the game design in terms of like what the box art and the map and everything. And then also the counters. I mean, the counter art. For me personally, if I'm playing a World War II game, I want to see a tank on a counter. I mean, NATO symbols are fine. I deal with them, but I would rather see a tank. I would rather see symbology rather than just a counter.
All right, so let's go through your steps, and Ruff, you too.
Well, so the Plantagenet one I looked at, the art didn't do much for me anyway, but it's part of that Levian, what's they call it?
Levian campaign.
Levian campaign sort of system, which I wasn't interested in. The subjects that they brought out interests me, but the actual game, do I need another
British history didn't interest you?
Not with that system, no.
Okay. All right. All right, so let's go through it. So let's imagine. All right, this game was debuted today. We look at the box and we go, "Ooh, okay." So would this interest you? Yes or no?
Yeah, it did. Yeah, the box and the subject was something so weird and unusual. I don't think it's been done before. I could be wrong.
Okay.
But, yeah.
So
the
next thing is obviously we go, "Oh, I don't know what this is," right? Mm-hmm. So because you're not familiar with this, does that make you more interested in this? Yes or no?
It did for me. It did for me because I knew nothing about it.
What about me? I was already familiar with that history, and I just wasn't interested.
Okay, so you already knew this though, but yeah. For me and Rolf, we both looked at this and went, I don't know anything about this. This sounds interesting. I need to find out more. So then we look at the components and the cards,
really good,
and then we read about it.
It is, yeah.
It's a beautiful game.
I'm not sure if I'm going to enjoy it because it's coin based, even though there's more sort of warfare in it. So
So then when you're analyzing and you're reading the back of the box, trying to find out, oh, this is what it's talking about. You look at the components. What else is kind of important to you? Do you look at the time to play? Do you look to see if there's solo? Do you look to find out how many players? What's like next important to you?
For me, if it's solo, if it's not a solo game, is it going to be soluble?
Okay, so you look and say, oh, does it 1 to 5 players or 1 to 2 players or whatever?
If it's a 2-player game, I probably won't get it because, as you know, I have no friends, so I can't play it. So I have to have that option of playing it solo, and hopefully, and that one's got a sort of interesting solo bot to it based on the Gandhi.
It's got basically the coin solo system built into it. Yes.
I mean, to me, it doesn't matter if it's solo or not.
So you already knew of this, but it didn't interest you, the subject matter. Right. So even though the art was nice, the components are nice.
Yep.
The theme then said no.
Right. I mean, I would probably do is if there was someone I knew that wanted to play that game, I would play it with them, but I wouldn't actually buy the game myself.
Okay. All right. So I'm just working through this now because I'm sure this is going through all of our heads, right? So we look at a game. Oh, that's cool. Box art, whatever. Oh, what's the subject? Oh, I don't know anything about this. Let me read about it. Oh, sounds interesting. Oh, looks good. Yep. Okay.
And the Mongols are involved, so it's got to be
the Mongols are involved, right?
Yeah.
So then the next thing is, how many players? 1 to 3 in this case, right? And time to play. Is that important? Is that important for people?
No,
not so much for me.
No. Okay. That's interesting because you two say no, but for me, it is important. I look at it and go, oh, if this game is going to be like 5 hours, no way I'm going to buy it.
Well, it's because you play 500 games a year. So,
hey, if I can't play 6 a day, it's not a good day. Okay. Leave me alone. So we need.
You don't take one with you to work, do you?
Right. So like for Ruff, if it's 2 to 4 players, you go, oh, thanks, no thanks, put it on the shelf. I'm trying to figure out why.
It depends if it can be played solo, two-handed.
Right.
That I don't
mind. If it's 2 to 5, but it comes with a solo,
or you could solo both. You play both sides. That's fine. Like GBOH, and I haven't got a problem with playing both sides. Panzer, haven't got a problem. But if it needs to
talk about this one then, because box art, yes or no?
Nice.
Bit busy. No, a bit muddy.
It is busy.
Does it make you want to play that game or no?
I look at that and I don't know what the game's about.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we go, oh, it's okay. I don't know. And then you read Ancient Civilizations of the Inner Sea.
Mm-hmm.
Does that theme interest you?
The theme does, but again, the mechanics of the game that I've
wait a minute, we're not to that yet. So you've got through the box art theme. So now we look at the box and we go, okay. Now let's look. Oh, okay. And let's find out what the subject is and what the game is like. Boom. And at that point, Ruff, that's when you said, no, okay, put it back on the shelf. Nate, you didn't get this game, did you?
No.
Okay, but you like the theme.
Yep.
Okay, so
my thought process was I saw the map.
Okay. And you said?
I said, as soon as I saw the map, I said no.
Okay.
Reason
because
being
of
was,
the map. Because why? Why the map?
Because the way the map looked, I could tell what the game was already going to be about just by seeing the map, because it looked and I assume probably plays very similar to Avalon Hill Civilization.
Okay.
And the way that the map projection is and everything and how it's laid out. And as soon as I saw particularly a picture of all of it laid out with all the pieces and everything, I thought that's Civilization. And sure, I mean, it may be cool, but I wasn't into that.
Okay. So
for me in that game, it was like, it seems interesting. And then I looked at people playthroughs and I thought, no, it's not for me.
Okay. I'm just trying to figure out what the process is. Somewhere along the lines, you say no. Like it might be cost. It could be. It could be. Oh, I already ordered 65 games. I don't need another one. It could be the theme. It could be whatever. I'm just trying to figure out what's the step we all use in our brains.
Now, Jester,
he's got the thumb up again.
At Jester, at this point, what is the things that we've talked about? What is your consideration?
Yeah. You've
been. I do the same thing. I do the same thing. At first, I look at the box, and I say, "Oh, that's either cool or it's not cool." And then I title. Is it interest? Like it's something interesting. The next thing I would interject is I find out if this is part of a series, and I've got other games to that series. I usually I go, oh, okay, it's another one in that series. Okay, so then I would do the same thing as you. Okay, if I don't know anything about this game, I would look at the components and I would read about it and find out what the mechanics are. Then I would look at as Ruff would do, I would look at the player count. I would say, okay, how many players are we looking at? This is 1 to 4 players. Oh, okay, I like that. 1 to 4, that's good. And then I would look at the time, and it has time in a bottle. It doesn't list the time.
That's a bit subjective, though, isn't it? I mean, look at me and Tony's playthrough of a very short 1 hour game that we didn't finish it in 2 hours because we're talking, we're chatting, we're playing, we're having a fun.
Right. Yeah,
it's all very these times are all very subjective.
Yeah,
but and I'd look that one up on, and then YouTube, like Christoph says, look, research it on YouTube. YouTubers, I don't know if many designers or publishers realize
it's also a very important part of mine.
Yeah, and I'm not sure still if many publishers and developers realize that.
Problem for me is I try to P500 the games, and usually there's not that many playthroughs of a game that hasn't been released yet, so it's a little harder. And so, I usually go on the GMT webpage and read through some of the articles if it's interesting.
Yeah.
And I mean, okay, so now let's come down to it, right?
And I'll tell you, I did concerning, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but concerning YouTube is I waffled for a good 2 years on whether or not I wanted to buy Fall Blau from Compass. And when they had their big Christmas sale, I watched the playthrough from Wise Guy History of him doing it. And I knew that he had a good perspective on it because he played the entire thing and then did a full, it was like almost an hour-long review of it. And after watching it, I was convinced I want to buy that game.
Yeah.
Okay.
And those are the things you look at, aren't they? And it on a superficial level, you'll watch a playthrough and think, yeah, I like the look of this. I like that way. Or no, I'm glad I watched the playthrough.
So now let me ask another important question. Let me start again. Is it important the price of the game for you when you decide whether or not, like if you were to go to, oh, this game looks great, theme, oh, it plays and it's got the right, and then you go to order it and it's like $80. Do you go, and stop and think about it again? Or do you go, oh, I still want it, I'm going to get it, click, and you buy it? So when does the price of the game come into consideration?
For me, it's it is a consideration. It put me off buying Compass Games Combat and Combat 2 as well for a long time, because it was very expensive.
Yeah.
But after a while, you watch stuff, and like Dave's Gaming Cave did it, and a few other people did play it, and you think it's such a great looking game. So when I went,
this is what I want to get to, right? Because at one point you said your brain said no, nope,
yeah,
I'm not buying this game.
Yeah, 150
somewhere along the lines, something changed, and you said yes. Now, what changed? When did it change? And why did you change your mind?
Well, it changed because I really wanted it. I'm thinking, I tell you what, I'm going to get, like I did some other games, get the guys, the family, to buy it for me for Christmas or whatever. And they were reprinting Combat 2 at the time, but it didn't come out, so I couldn't get it paid for by my family. You know, they all chip in and go, "Oh, we'll get Dad that game." You know, it didn't come out. The reprint, the second edition, didn't come out, so I ended up getting Mage Knight, which is another great game. But anyway, when it did come out, I was still like, oh, and then I went to PunchCon, and Second Chance Games are there, and I'm looking at, they've got a copy there, and I'm thinking, oh, they're doing 10% off, and there's no postage, and I'd had a couple of beers, and I went, go on then, I'll have it. Here we are, and that's what happened.
That was the deciding factor right there.
Yeah,
you finally had an opportunity to get it at a lower
bit of a money off price, yeah,
a little bit off, and without shipping costs, and so that was going to save you a little bit of money. And you said, "All right, it's time to pull the trigger." Okay, Nate, I'm sorry, go ahead.
I mean, some of them, if it's close to or over $100, I definitely hesitate a lot. But it does depend upon whether or not is the game out of print, and how much is it going for, like a Noble Knight or something like that. And I watch and I wait and see what people put up there. And every once in a while, there's someone who, like, for instance, I got an unpunched copy of Unconditional Surrender that's been out of print for a long time, and I got it for like $50. And I thought that was very reasonable for being out of price and or out of print and brand spanking new. But $200 for a game, I mean, I did for Europa Universalis, and thankfully, I mean, it all turned around that I didn't actually pay that. But that was about the only one that I was actually, because I love the concept of the game, like the computer game, and the board and the components, everything looked amazing, and I thought I'll definitely get my money's worth out of it. But just a regular like P500, if it's over $100, I'm gonna wait a lot to I want to see more of the game than just, this is what we're going to do, and here's a little page about it.
So let's just say there's a game you're interested, the price, the box art is great, theme is great, everything's great, except for you look at GMT and it says $110. You're like, oh yeah. All of a sudden GMT says, you know what, we're going to offer this game for $90 this week.
Sold.
Then all of a sudden, so at that point, price doesn't matter. At that point, I mean, price.
$20
is money is subjective, or I guess that's not a good point. The cost of a game is subjective. I own games that cost $200 and $300, but sure, I got them, and they're for sale for like $500 or $600. So I'm thinking, when I'm spending $200 on my little expansion, people are like, "You're nuts," and I'm like, I'm getting it like a third of the cost of like people are selling them for like $400 and $500. So yeah, like in a couple of years, I could sell mine.
Case in point is my Panzer North Africa. Look at the size of that box, but it's P500. It was still getting on for $100. I think 95. It's much more expensive now because it's in retail, but I knew what I was getting with this.
Yeah.
And the amount of stuff in it is incredible. So I didn't mind paying that because it's a game I like.
Yeah.
And
how much?
Maybe
sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, how much does this come into play with you guys, knowing that in our industry, our entertainment board game industry, as soon as the game is sold out, it's worth double the price. And like, if you're going to get the game, and sure, like this game, oh man, it's going to be like $80. That's pretty expensive. But if I don't get it now, next week, it's going to be $120 because they'll be sold out and the price will go through the roof. Does that come into play at all with you guys?
It depends again on the game, the subject, what if you think, oh yeah.
Like generally, yeah. Like I could tell when right before Atlantic Chase came out that I could tell just like reading and seeing about it, like on Board Game Geek or Consim World or whatever, that people were gonna enjoy this.
Yeah,
and so I P500 it right before it went out.
Like Atlantic Chase, when it was released, it was sold out within like 2 weeks. It was sold out. The prices went from $50 to $100 to $200. I saw $250 it was selling for.
Well, it's because of this show that I got into Atlantic Chase, because I didn't back it on the P500 because it didn't say it was solo friendly. It was 2 players. And then it's only when Mike came on the show and I said, oh, I really wanted that because it's not solo. He said, there's a whole solo book of games in it. And I said, what? That wasn't even on the webpage at GMT. They didn't even say that. Otherwise, I would have got it in a flash.
Didn't you say, oh, I couldn't get it anymore? And then somebody had mentioned that second chance had a copy for sale, and you ended up buying it?
And I got it, and it was their last copy. But I had to pay whatever the price was. But I got their last copy. But because GMT didn't put down the fact that there's an 80-page or 60-page solo battle book, that must have cost them some sales, and it sold out anyway. But then the secondary print sold out as well, I think. So, but that's. I'm so glad I got it. I'm so glad I got it.
Yeah, I mean the cost for games when they sell out, just like instantaneously doubles. Like and only once they reprint. I mean, Mr. President, you can't get that for cheap anymore because that's sold out. For my own horrors almost sold out. As soon as that gets sold out, then it's going to go through the roof.
Herm's game's the same, isn't it? So, and MMP, I know they're a small company.
And so a lot of times I'll look at a game and I'll say, the reason I brought this all up is because you guys were talking about the price. Because a lot of times I look at the price of a game, and like I said, price for a game is subjective because it depends when you're buying it. Like, do I wait on this game to go on sale, or do I buy it now thinking it's going to sell out and it's going to be worth twice as much, and or it's going to cost me twice as much in a month from now? How many times have we bought a game going, oh, I wanted that game and now I can't get it, and
well, I'll tell you this:
on a reprint.
I know if I want to buy a game, say from Compass, that's already out. I usually wait until near Christmas because they have their big sale.
Yeah, their big sale.
And I'll go play other games until then.
Yeah.
Okay, so that was going to be the kind of the last part of this, but we're running out of time, so we're going to have to make it really quick. Like when you looked at the box art, you looked at all the stats and ratings, blah blah blah. Do you finally say to yourself, okay, well, it's by this company X, and I'm going to wait until they have a sale, or I'm going to wait till they P500 it and it go, it's cheaper, or what? What do you do for that whole part of it?
Well, I'll if I may jump in first, because being over this side of the Atlantic, we haven't got Compass Games sales or MMP sales that we can get our cheap games and be sent to us, because the shipping is stupid. So most of my games I get from GMT, because I know what you get. You know what you're getting. But I did the P500, and they do it via Second Chance Games over here, which is the main sort of war game retailer in the UK. So that's what I wish I could do. Well, I suppose in some respects, I'm glad that Compass don't do a similar thing, or MMP don't do a similar thing via second chance games, because it would, you wouldn't be able to see me. It'll be just boxes everywhere. So I don't get that benefit of waiting for sales, because the shipping is just abhorrent.
Okay.
Sorry, Nate.
Repeat your question, Jester.
So my question is it like, do you look at the company and then say, like you were saying, oh, this is from Compass, so I'm going to wait for their end of year sale, or this is from GMT, I'm going to wait till it P500s again, and they reprint it, or something like that?
If it's from like any company, first I'm going to go see what the price is on the company website, publisher's website, and what that price is, and then I'm going to go to other retailers like Noble Knight or something like that and see what they're selling at. If it's cheaper, then I'll get it from them. But if I can only really get it from the company, then I'll wait. I'll wait for a P500. I'll wait for a GMT end of the year sale, Compass sale, or whatever. I'm willing to be patient for that.
Okay. Well, I thought it was an interesting. You had it on your list of you wanted to talk about with your buddy, and I thought, oh, that would be a great subject for our show. And I'm glad we got a chance to talk about it. I think it's an interesting discussion about how obviously we don't buy all the games, so we have to make a decision. Obviously, price comes into play somewhere along the lines. Theme is important to us. The components are important to us. Availability, right, Ruff? Availability, getting it for a decent price is obviously very important.
I mean,
is there anything else?
Our outlook over this side of the pond is different to your outlook about buying games, because you've got more options and we haven't. So,
is there anything else that I missed that we haven't really kind of covered?
I mean, we could cover, it could be next week or some other time, of like the mechanics of the game itself.
Okay.
Card driven, hex encounter. Is it a hex map? Is it a point to point area movement?
And this will be, and then we're gonna kind of wrap up after this. Is it important at all when you look at the game that it has new or interesting mechanics? Like like Atlantic Chase, obviously, first time ever, it had this weird thing. Did that ever come into play? Like, oh, this is a game that's never been done before. Let me try this one.
Definitely.
Yeah,
definitely.
Okay, so that is important. Okay. Well, great. So we've only got a couple minutes before we're going to wind things up. Thanks, Nate, for having a good show with us, and we hope to have many years with you. And we'll go forward, and we're very excited to have you on board. And looking forward to many shows.
Well, thank you. Thanks to the chat.
And I would say thanks to Tony. We're gonna miss him. We tease him all the time.
Yeah.
But thanks for 4 great years, Tony. If you're watching this later, we do appreciate you. Everyone in the chat loves you, and we're whatever we can do, whenever we can get together, I would be more than happy to do it. So thanks to Tony for the time that he did spend with us. He was a great guy, and we miss him already. I know Ruff cries every morning.
He's cooking. It's Karen's birthday.
So, is it his birthday? His wife's birthday?
The weekend. Yeah. I'm not sure if it's today or the weekend.
Oh, okay.
But he's cooking. She's got all her girlfriends over, and he's the chef.
Right, because you sang happy birthday to her last year.
Yeah, that was 2 years ago.
Oh, 2 years ago. Oh,
yeah.
Oh, my God, that's too funny.
You mentioned that last night, yeah.
Nate, you want to know where your glasses are, so I don't know.
Thanks, John.
It's going to be a few years.
So thanks, Nate, Jester. Really enjoyed this one. Thank you for coming by. We appreciate everyone out there. We do so much. It's a great time to have everyone. And again, we goes by so quick.
Yeah.
Next week's show will be on Ruff's channel, right? We decided next week will be on Ruff's channel. But what we're going to do is Nate is going to kind of jump in and He's going to decide the subject matter for next week, which he'll post on the Facebook.
Yeah.
But let me put this on so everyone's in line with that. All right. So, Ruff, I know you've been under the weather. Do you think you're going to try and get something out this
yeah,
week,
we've got to crack on with it. So, yes, I'm not sure. I'll probably do something completely different. I'll probably do that Escape from Stalingrad Z.
Ooh, that would be good. I want to see that one.
Zombies. I know it's daft and it's not everybody's cup of tea, but I'm going to have a little go at a scenario or so and see how we get on with that and try and get that recorded up next. Because then I've got a good list. We've already done one. I've got things like Western Front Ace on my list of games to play and Silent War and all that sort of thing. Nice solitaire game.
Didn't you do a poll? What was the winner of the poll?
Well, it's Combat. That was when I did Combat.
Oh, that was for Combat. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, sorry about that. It's just taken too long. I've been ill. The cat's destroyed it. So I've decided to put it away. But I think 5 40-minute videos were good enough to give people an idea whether or not they're going to enjoy it. And time to move on. So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping. Yeah. Bit of
right. And I know, Nate, you got a YouTube channel.
Yep.
We will try to link it over in the Facebook group, but if you want to introduce it to people and
sure.
Will you be posting anything on your YouTube?
We should be we should be posting some things relatively soon, at least within the next couple of months. I'm waiting for my friend to finish up his board game room because we're going to probably start doing podcasts there ourselves. Because we did some before. There was 3 on our channel already. But yeah, so Board Game Bunker.
Board Game Bunker. Okay. So you guys should head over there, get a subscriber, get some subscriptions for him. And yeah, we'll be able to see his stuff as he progresses forward. All right. So we'll see you next week at Ruff's channel. And I think everyone is in session next week. I think don't have anything scheduled until mid-April. So hopefully we'll be able to get into a rhythm and get things keeping going.
Yeah, thanks, chat, for all your comments.
That's been great today.
Yeah.
And I heard that we're still having problems with that like button, Ruff.
Oh yeah, if they haven't, please make sure they're you're pushing the like button. I'm just going to check. Yeah, we need a few more, please. Yeah. If you haven't done so already.
All right, everyone. Thank you so much for coming by. We'll see you in 1 week over on Ruff's channel. Yeah. Take care, everybody. Have a great week. All right.
Good night, everyone.
Bye, everybody.